Alright, welcome to Old World Gaming. So, it looks like, as promised on the Warhammer Community page, here is our Thursday update. They said a few days ago that this was going to be Dwarf Week, and they'd be putting out some articles this week. And they did say they'd drop one on Thursday, so it looks like here it is. Old World Almanac, The Law of the Dwarfen Mountain Holds. It's a dynamic time to be a dwarf in Warhammer the Old World. Let's have a look. Okay, so I'm just going to read through this, I guess. Some funky images on there. Very nice artwork. Like, this art is all very cool. I love it. Some new maps. All exciting. And yeah, I mean, I love a good dwarf hold. What's that? It's being sieged by some goblins or orcs and goblins or something like that. Greenskins of some variety. So yeah, there we go. I'm just going to jump in and start reading through this and see what it says. After a short wait, the Dwarfen Mountain Holds have arrived in Warhammer the Old World. A short wait? I mean, it depends. For a dwarf, it's probably been a short wait, but for all of us, when we've been teased about it like a number of months back, what did I say? It was March, April, May, June, July, like 4 months ago. It feels like a really long wait, considering how quick, like we got what, Bretonnians and Khemri and orcs and goblins all within the space of a few months, and then we've waited ages. It feels like we waited ages for dwarves, but there we go. Short wait, it's fine. It's a short wait, really. After a short wait, the Dwarfen Mountain Holds have arrived in Warhammer the Old World. Axes sharpened and beards waxed. On Monday, we spoke to the Warhammer studio about how the dwarfs play on the tabletop, and today we're going to find out what the Karaz Angkor, that's the entire dwarfen realm to you, Beardling, is up to during this time period. Danny. The dwarfs are making strides at the moment, looking at the lost holds and figuring out what they can do to honour the ancestors and start reclaiming them. Oh, that's exciting. They are uncovering ancient technologies that have been buried in these holds and are trying to bring back the golden era, really. Now, I really like that prospect, because one of the, like when you look through the dwarf army books, the older army books, you see all these broken dwarf holds and you think, oh, the glory days of the dwarves when they had loads of holds. In fact, you know what really kind of I don't know, brings out more is playing Warhammer Total War, and you get to go around and reclaim all the holds from goblins and other, like Beastmen and stuff like that. I guess it's not Beastmen, I completely just made that up. From orcs and goblins and stuff who have claimed the holds, going around and claiming them back, and you feel like you're bringing back the glory days. That was one of my favourite parts about playing Warhammer Total War, as being the dwarves and doing that. Anyway, that's really cool, and I love the fact that they're saying uncovering ancient technologies, which I don't even know what that's going to be. Imagine if we get like something I always wanted to do was make some like dwarf steam golems or some sort of steam-based things. I do have in a box somewhere the shield from, I can't remember his name, the original shield guy on Shield Bearers. His name disappears from my head. I'm sure someone can put it in the comments for me later. So I've got that shield and the head of Malachi Mackison's Goblin Hewer, and I figured I could probably use those and some other bits and bobs to make a cool looking steam golem. Imagine if they did something like that. That would be awesome. I'd love a unit of steam golems or some sort of thing. Another thing which would be awesome is a proper airship, because I was very disappointed. So I saw down here we go. When they bought this out, oh, that's a really nice picture actually. Anyway, when they bought this out and made the one that's got the tiny little balloon in it, I was like, what is that? The bomber. I was like, that balloon's not going to do anything. I want a real proper full size one, like was available for Warmaster, and like if you read Gotrek and Felix when they meet Malachi, don't they? And the Spirit of Grungni, the airship that he made. It would be cool to have an airship on the battlefield. I'd love something like that. Imagine if they give you that. Anyway, I can't imagine they're going to do that. That's not really an ancient technology, but there we are. Anyway, digression happened, and I love all this cool artwork. It's really nice that we've got artwork like this. Anyway, Carrying on with the conversation, JTY. Since the time of woes, the dwarfs have been scattered. A lot of the old holds have been lost, and they've always wanted to reclaim them. This is a time of positivity and opportunity. I love it. Chaos is a distant threat. There are other dangers out there, including the orcs and goblins, but the dwarfs are of a mind to expand and reclaim. That said, they're still dwarfs, so some don't think it's possible. What's lost is gone, but others want to get out there and get it done. You might notice a dwarf icon over 8 peaks on the map. The dwarf thinks they've reclaimed it, though it's really only a few of the top levels. Where's the map? What can we see on here? Can I zoom in? No. No, fine. Okay, where is... I can't even see 8 peaks now. I can't quite remember where it is. I feel like it's in this middle line somewhere. I'm probably wrong. All right, I can't quite see on the map. It's a little bit too small. Okay, the story in this arcane journal is of the reclamation of Kazed Vosk, a minor hold lost a long time ago. It was an outpost of the Engineers Guild, and the dwarfs are moving towards reclaiming it alongside 1 or 2 others. Now that's cool. Making it so that it's an outpost of the Engineers Guild really does mean that they can bring in some crazy tech if they want to. Imagine if we got, like, I don't know, a dwarf steam tank. I don't even know what the possibilities, but things like an airship, things like steam golems, maybe even some sort of land train of some variety, like the Chaos Dwarfs have. Those kind of things. There's a lot of possibilities with the Engineers Guild, or just some crazy. Like obviously we got the Goblin Hewer when they did Storm of Chaos. That just kind of came out of left wing, and I wasn't really expecting that. So yeah, that's cool. I think that was a good move. So there we go. Danny. The dwarfs are still playing an active role in what's going on in the old world. They're not focusing on themselves and digging down in their own holds. They've had a pretty incredible relationship with the Empire of Man for a few centuries now. They're still coming to terms with the fact that the manlings are currently fighting amongst themselves. Why are their allies doing this? Dwarven diplomats are trying to smooth those relations over. They're not going to take sides, but they want to act as arbiters and trading partners for everyone. They're trying to be steadfast friends and allies, no matter what bickering is going on. And I could probably read that text if I tried really hard, but I'm not going to. The March to Kazed Vosk, I guess this is from the Arcane Journal. This is probably a double-page spread, isn't it? With a story. And where is it? So it's this one here, The March to Kazed Vosk. So that, yeah, Kazed Vosk. And so this, I guess, may provide the backdrop for a campaign with all these dwarves going to try and reclaim it. That's quite a lot of... I mean, they must think there's something really important here for all of these different clans to come together and try and get it. So that could be very interesting. Anyway, JTY. It's quite a hopeful time period, but we know that's not going to last. The High King is Alric Alricsson. Is that the guy on the shield? Ruling out of Karazakarak. As many fans of the old world will no doubt be familiar, he will eventually be mortally wounded during the Great War against Chaos, and his sons will be killed. But he survives long enough for his thanes to go out and perform mighty deeds to prove themselves worthy of the throne. That's when Thorgrim, a well-known name whose mother is the High King's sister, proves his worth and, in the fullness of time, is crowned High King. He's the first of our 3 characters in the Arcane Journal, but he's not earned the name Grudgebearer yet. He's still Thorgrim Ulriksson. He's a prince, and he's the Carl of the Great Book of Grudges, a scholar of grudge law. There's a fair bit of foreshadowing in the character description for what's to come. Yeah, very cool. Alright, loving it. I mean, these guys look cool. Okay, Danny. For anyone who's familiar with him, it's worth noting that the Thorgrim of our period, is a much younger dwarf, one who hasn't been quite so jaded by the rigours of rulership, and who doesn't yet own most of the items later associated with him. He is armed instead with magical or runic items appropriate to his current station as a prince. And I guess that's him there, isn't it? And there's Ungrim, and I wonder who this guy is. Okay. JTY, he has an item called the Grudge Stone, which is an oath stone that makes him incredibly tough to shift. He and his unit become unbreakable. Now that is cool. That's a little bit like the old Oath Stones of 7th edition. And he dishes out hatred for orcs and goblins. He retains the armour of Skaldor, but he has a different weapon and fights on foot. Ungrim Ironfist is also around. There he is. And he's a lot more aggressive in this period. He doesn't have the Dragon Cloak yet, but does possess the Slayer Crown and the Axe of Dargo. It's his duty to clear the curse of the Slayer vow from his bloodline. He has 2 vows that are in complete opposition with the royal line, that the royal line can't reconcile. The vows of kinship to continue his bloodline and protect his people cannot exist side by side with the Slayer vow, and this contradiction drives every king of Karak-Kadrin slowly mad, trying to find a balance. Ungrim's solution is to find a queen, who he believes is more qualified to rule than he considers himself to be, so that once he's met his doom and the Slayer vow is dispensed, she can rule in his stead until such a time as his sons assume the throne. There you go, problem solved. Great, okay. The trouble is, he's really struggling to find a doom worthy of a king. Yeah, there we go. Alright. JTY, Karak-Kadrin ramps up in its activity during this period. It's taken part in a lot of battles. If there's a battle they can reach, Ungrim wants to be a part of it. Danny, Burlock Daminson. Okay, yeah. He's got a metal hand, doesn't he, at one point, I guess. I don't know if he's got it in this one, doesn't look like it. Burlock Daminson is our 3rd character, and he is the one who reaches out to other holds to inform them that there's going to be an attempt to reclaim Kazed Vosk. Okay, it's is it his mission? Fine. It's the Slayer hold who answers the call. Alongside all these wonderful engineers guild contraptions, there's a host of Slayers, and Ungrim is on his way. So that's the expeditionary force. Is it the expeditionary force? In the expeditionary force, it kind of talked about that kind of thing, didn't it? One of the things people know about Burlock is that he nearly got kicked out of the guild on a number of occasions for being a bit wild in his youth. What we've got here is, well, experimental Burlock. He is field testing inventive weapons. He famously loses an arm at some point in his adventures, and both of the weapons the new model is carrying certainly look as though they could blow off a limb. There we go, that's what I was talking about a minute ago. He's got a hammer with a furnace in the end of it. Okay, fine, why not? Just because you can. And a steam-powered pistol, either of which could go catastrophically wrong. It's actually most of the reason he ends up leading the reclamation of Kazed Vosk. He makes one too many mess-ups at the Engineers Guild. JTY, and he's given a choice. Do something significant to prove your maturity, to prove that you aren't totally reckless. Your father's a good engineer, which is why we're putting up with you. Or you're not an engineer anymore. He completely misunderstands the objective and says, right, we're going to reclaim the lost hold of Kazed Vosk. This isn't what the guild wanted, but if he goes ahead, he either doesn't return, which deals with the issue of his experiments blowing up workshops, or he might actually succeed. So they give him the resources and send him off on his merry way through the Underway. Because it's an outpost of the guild, it's thought to be full of workshops and inventions. However, it's been fallen for a long time, and it's full of orcs. We follow the story of his arrival and assault on the upper levels. This is a different proposition for dwarves because it puts them in the role of attacking a fortified enemy, rather than sitting back and firing cannons in defence. They do reclaim the upper levels, spoiler, and we may return to Kazed Vosk in future. Well, that is very exciting. Yeah, I quite like that idea of the dwarves being an attacking force. What does a siege put on by dwarves look like? Yeah, very cool. Very cool. Imagine, what's a dwarven siege tower look like? Do they have a siege tower? I don't know. That'd be cool. Yeah, just lots of options. Dwarven siege weapons. Obviously they've got loads of cannons and stuff like that, but would they, like a dwarven steam battering ram? Or some sort of steam-powered... I don't know if you need a steam-powered siege tower, but just, I don't know. There's some cool options. Yeah, very good. All right, I'm quite excited with the direction they've taken dwarves. I think that's really cool and a very very interesting look as to what the dwarves are going to be doing. I love the prospect of trying to get back to the glory days, of reclaiming old stuff and finding old technologies. I think that's very very cool. Gives a lot of opportunity for places to go with new models and background and stuff. So yeah, I'm very pleased about that. Alright, so I found that particularly interesting. Hopefully you did too. And thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.